let me just say for our city and for the people who live in our city, the people who are on our roads, whether they walk, they drive, they ride their bikes, or they people from the disability community who utilize our roadways. Today is a very important day. So good morning and thank you for being here to learn about a significant advance in Houston's evolving mobility policy. Vision Zero is a strategy to eliminate fatalities and serious injuries resulting from crashes on our roads. Our goal is to eliminate fatalities and serious injuries in Houston by 2030. Many will say that this goal is unachievable, but let me just say that no loss of life on our roadways is acceptable, and that is why I have signed and will be signing today the executive order today establishing a Vision Zero policy for Houston. With Vision Zero, we join cities across the globe that have found that establishing such a goal reduces fatalities and serious injuries on the roadways. Cities that have already declared Vision Zero have seen success. Examples include Seattle, Boston, Portland, New York. They have all seen steady declines over the last few years. Vision Zero Houston is the beginning of a new mindset, one that will transform how we design our roads and sidewalks and how we interact with other road users. Vision Zero Houston will bring an awareness to the fact that we are all humans, that we all make mistakes, and that our transportation system should be forgiving. Our approach is based upon a combination of engineering, education, enforcement, equity, and evaluation. And let me also add, I didn't mean to overlook Councilmember Jack Christie, who's standing here as well. These components will not work separately, but comprehensively. Engineering, education, enforcement, equity, and evaluation must all work together. Engineering, we will make sure we design streets so that safety is a top priority. And quite frankly, it starts with engineering. Education, we will make sure that every user of our roads know best practices to reduce their likelihood of being in an accident. Enforcement, we will enforce our rules such as how HPD citywide effort increased DWI arrests by nearly 75% in the first 6 months of this year. Enforcement is a critical component. Equity, we will make sure that every Houstonian, regardless of where they live or how they travel through our city, has access to safe and efficient mobility options. And then evaluation, we will always review our effectiveness and make necessary improvements to the plan when we discover them. Vision Zero will serve as the umbrella for the good things the City of Houston is already doing to improve street safety and will help guide us to doing more and doing it better. And some of the actions we have already have underway already are the road safety audits to identify and fix some of the most dangerous intersections in Houston, the construction of high comfort bike lanes to provide a safer way to travel by bike, and our new Safer Streets initiative that will provide a coordinator whose sole job is to make our streets safer. And quite frankly, this is an important position, and I've elevated this status. It will now be an executive and assistant deputy position that will report up to the mayor. We must all work together to shift the way we think about traffic safety. Traffic deaths are preventable and unacceptable. So how will it work? I will establish an executive committee of decision makers from city departments and our partners at the counties, Metro, and TxDOT to develop a Vision Zero action plan. The plan will be based on data that clearly defines the problem and helps us determine priorities and establish milestones for achieving our goal. The executive committee will establish a task force of experts, advocates, and others to guide the planning process and hold us accountable for implementation. Implementation does not have to wait until the plan is finalized. Starting now, we will work closely with our partners utilizing their strengths to assist with establishing actions to complete in the short term as well as long-term implementation so that by 2030, Houston will have 0 traffic deaths. We cannot overlook the impact of other conditions on our roadways that cause fatalities and severe injuries like driving while under the influence or driving while intoxicated. Houston leads the nation, unfortunately, for fatal crashes involving drugs and alcohol, and second for fatal wrecks that involve speeding. We can do the engineering, and we can do all of the right steps, but if people drive while under the influence, all of that can be undercut. And so we want to emphasize that we all must be held accountable and be responsible. I challenge all of you to change something you do today that will get us closer to our goal. Don't drink and drive. Put down that cell phone while driving. Observe stop signs while riding your bike. Cross streets at intersections, being mindful of oncoming cars and bikes. Together we can create change, and together we can make a difference. And together we can shift how we see mobility, and not only see the vision, but make it possible right here in the city of Houston. In fact, let me just add in, utilizing our public transit system will also go a long way in creating safer streets. No loss of life is acceptable on our city streets and highways. None. 0. But it is important for the city of Houston to make it a priority and to embed it within our departments and to make sure that we start to get it right from the very beginning. So let me thank all of you again for taking time out of your busy schedule. Let me thank those of you in this room and those who are not in this room for pushing the city to get us to where we are. And I know without any question that you will continue to push us to reach the goal of Vision Zero. I accept that challenge. We all do, because it is important for the city of Houston, and it's important for everyone that utilizes our roads. Now, at this point, let me also acknowledge Marcy Corey with Safe to Save, who's also here. Marcy, thank you for being here. Now let me bring up Margaret Wallace, the director for the plan.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mayor Turner, for your vision for bringing Vision Zero to Houston. When we first mentioned this to him several months ago, he did not blink. He immediately said yes. This was something that he wanted for Houston to make sure that all Houstonians were safe, and I appreciate that. So where do we go from here? Well, in early September, we're going to pull together this executive committee and have our first meeting. We will be working with all of you over the next several months. We plan to have our plan complete within 1 year of today, and we will then begin implementing right away. But there are some things that as the executive committee starts to develop the plan, we'll be able to implement before we end the plan. So there'll be things that you'll be seeing coming out of the Vision Zero planning process that'll be changing the way Houstonians operate over the next several months. There are many of you in the room that will be part of this process. This will be open and transparent and full of community input and engagement, and I welcome all of you with your suggestions and your thoughts and your ideas. Bring them to us. We will work with this, and we will make this plan the best plan in the Vision Zero network. Thank you.
Before I call up the next speaker, let me also acknowledge the county too, because Commissioner Adrian Garcia, Commissioner Rodney Ellis have been very, very vital, major players in working with us to design high-comfort safe bike lanes and to make sure that they improve our streets. So it's not just a city effort, it's a county effort, and I want to acknowledge and thank them especially for their support. Let me also say that there's no better time than right now for us to engage in Vision Zero when we are talking about transit. We're talking about what we're doing with our roads, the involvement of TxDOT. There's no better time than now to implement Vision Zero when we talk about building a more resilient city of Houston. All of these pieces fit together, pieces of a puzzle. And quite frankly, as we talk about transit and what we're doing with our roads and how we're going to design and engineer them, There needs to be an overriding strategy, objective in place to make sure that all of the different components are moving in the same direction. And that's why we're doing it now, because this is, quite frankly, the perfect time to tie all of these pieces together. And I spoke about Harris County, but Tanya Rivera is here. Tanya, I still associate you with the city of Houston. I'm sorry. I know I loan you to Commissioner Garcia. Please let him know it is a loan. And then, of course, for Precinct 1, Commissioner Ellis, Amir Mohite. And I loan you to Commissioner Ellis because you were over here working on this side, so you're on loan as well. And then for County Judge Alina Hidalgo, there's Aaron Dunn. Thank you for being here, and look forward to working with the county judge. Thank you all. You've heard from the Planning Department, now from Public Works. Jeff Weatherford for the Houston Public Works. Jeff.
Thank you, Mayor. Houston Public Works Department is thrilled to be able to participate in the implementation of Vision Zero for our city. For myself and several of y'all sitting in the room, this has been kind of a long journey. It seems like we started about 5 years ago with ex-council member and now County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez talking about this. I'd like to thank the Mayor and Director Wallace for embracing this. That, as the Mayor said, no deaths are acceptable. That a Vision Zero goal is critical. We can't continue down the path where we sit here and say, well, we want to lower it 20% or something like that. Zero is the only number that's acceptable. Public Works has already begun down the process of this, looking at the road audits for the 12 intersections that we started with, that we've made some changes to the infrastructure design manual. We continue to partner with Metro, the county, TxDOT, Together for Safer Roads, and a lot of other groups to try and embrace safety and make the community safer. That the ultimate goal is to develop a culture of safety in the city itself, and then within our residents, so that we think about this when we drive. We're proud to be part of this process and thankful to our partners. Thank you, Mayor Turner. We're looking forward to helping our city become safer.
Thank you. Let me now call up Lex Freeland, disability advocate, but also on the board of Metro.
Thank you, Mayor. I've got a lapel here, thanks. So the Vision Zero is important to all of us. And I'm so proud to be here with the Chief Inclusion Executive of the #1 diversity city in America to say that people with disabilities respect this city and the proclamations that we make. And this goal of Vision Zero is one that will benefit all of us. There are 628,000 people with disabilities in the Houston area. We all have to work and play and go to school in our city, and many of us find it difficult to get there because of poor sidewalks, because we have to go across streets when we shouldn't need to, and because we put ourselves at risk from day to day in those streets and on those sidewalks. And many of us have been injured by automobiles. I broke my neck 50 years ago in a traffic accident. And don't think lightning can't strike twice. 2 years ago, a red light runner totaled the car that I was riding in. And I probably wouldn't be here today without the Houston Fire Department and the emergency room at the Texas Medical Center, which was a mile away. We have to be encouraging our community members to drive more safely, to be aware of all the people on the streets, those who are using bicycles, those who are walking, and those who may be using adapted equipment. Vision Zero is a bold plan. It's one that we can reach, and it will take all of us working together to do so. Thank you.
Thanks, Lex. comments, and you mentioned the fire department, so let me bring up Chief Samuel Penn here.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. The Houston Fire Department is committed to the Vision Zero strategy of ending traffic deaths and serious injuries by 2030. The traffic accidents are the #1 call type for the Houston Fire Department, with over 37,000 incidents in 2018. That's why we're eager to partner with our partners here to improve street safety. Mayor Turner, the City of Houston Police Department, Public Works, Planning, all committed to improving street safety in our city. I want to thank you all for your support, and I want to thank Houston for their support in this initiative. Thank you.
And with HPD, Kenneth Campbell, Commander of Traffic Enforcement.
Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of Chief Acevedo, Assistant Chief Gall, and myself, and the entire Houston Police Department, we're extremely excited to be a part of the Vision Zero team. We've been talking about this and researching this for quite a while. A lot of stuff going on in the background. The Houston Police Department, we cover over 650 plus square miles of jurisdiction throughout this city. There's a lot of roadways that come in and out. There's a lot of roadway users. As Commander of the Traffic Enforcement Division, our goal is to reduce crashes and traffic fatalities as an entire whole. So being part of Vision Zero is a really great opportunity for us to be a part of. One of the things that we've been doing lately and that we're going to continue to do is that we're doing all of our enforcement through data-driven efforts. We're studying crash locations. We're conducting red light enforcement where we find the most intersection crashes at. We're studying fatality locations. We like to see different trends. If we see an increase, that's where we're going to deploy our assets and our resources. And we also track those and we see what we're doing from those so we can better make a difference in reducing fatalities. Beyond enforcement, we also believe in education. So we have a lot of public education events where we partner with different people and different team members, people from hospitals, people from Safe to Save, and get the message out on how we can get seatbelt safety, slowing down, looking at roadways. We're excited to partner with the engineering departments here at the City of Houston so that we can make recommendations for them to study different roadways, and we can try to make it a safer environment for everyone to travel and move in and about the city. So on that, thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing the success of Vision Zero.
And Assistant Chief, Chief Tom, you want to add? Enforcement is important.
That's okay, Mayor. Thanks very much for hosting the event. Thanks very much for being here. Sorry for being late. I was actually next door with Councilmember Christie. We were at another hearing. But again, I just want to add on to what Commander Campbell's already said. I mean, he's actually the boots on the ground. He actually goes out and does enforcement himself. So, he's always impressed me by doing that. But again, thanks very much. Just like I think Mr. Weatherford said, it seemed like a very long time ago we met. But, when I heard about this, I mean, this is a pretty ambitious thing to do. But I think this is something that we can do. And as the Mayor said, this is perfect timing. It's going to take a very much of a collaborative effort from all of us to do it, not just police, just not fire, from citizens, everyone involved, to the design of the roadways and everything like that. I'm just looking forward to the day when we can get our traffic fatalities and anything like that to say that we are at zero. So again, Mayor and everyone here, thanks very much, and we look forward to working together to reach that goal.
Representing Bike Houston, the Executive Director, Clark Martinson.
I am Clark Martinson, Executive Director at Bike Houston, and last month my wife, my daughter, and her fiance went to India for their engagement party. And it turned out to be a 3-day engagement function, visiting 8 households across the family that we were visiting, as well as 8 hotels and 8 cities across India. And let me tell you, traffic is crazy in places like India. In the cities, on the streets, it's full of all the users, the most unprotected being the pedestrian, the most protected being the cow. Between the sacred cow and the pedestrian, you have the person on a bike, in the jitney, driving a car, in a van, on a bus, in a truck. In Houston, we drive too fast. We drive distracted, and we too often drive inebriated. If that were to happen in India, there'd be deaths all over the road. So we have to change the way we drive so we can avoid those catastrophes in our families. In 2013, since 2013, over 470 people have died on our streets, walking and riding a bike. And today, Mayor Turner is committing the city to make our roads safer for everyone, regardless of how we choose to travel. And Bike Houston thanks the city for this direction, and as advocates for equity and safer streets for all, we call on the city to bring the departments together with the transportation agencies in our community to develop this plan, to prioritize the dangerous streets in the CIP that have been identified as the 12 most dangerous intersections in our city, and to allocate 13% of the street and traffic control budget to building sidewalks and building bikeways so that it's safe for all users on our streets. And most of all, to dedicate an executive person to be responsible to implement the bike plan, the Vision Zero plan, as well as our transportation planning for our city. So our traffic is not as bad as India's. We can slow down, we can eliminate distracted and under the influence driving, and we can design and construct our roads, our sidewalks, and bikeway networks to benefit all people. And we can eliminate traffic deaths. So being a place with sane traffic that respects the dignity of all will make Houston the place where people want to live, work, and invest. Thank you.
Thanks, Clark, and I do want to acknowledge Councilmember Carlos Cisneros, who's here representing District 8, and again want to acknowledge Councilmember Jack Christie at large from the city of Houston. Now, if you will, let me just get right on the side of that.